Okay, good morning. We are going to start with our English EOC remediation in hopes that this will get you to better your writing specifically for that essay that you have to be working on in your STAAR.
Okay, so we do want to show you that we do have EOC remediation resources. There you'll find some test strategies for STAAR revision and editing, and then we've broken it down into English 1 and English 2. So for English 2, you can click on it, and there is a walkthrough on YouTube on how to set up that essay as well as the writing process. Because today we're going to be focusing on the English 1, since that is actually the one that most of you are taking. There's also the writing process here, and we will be uploading this video as well.
So basically going into that expository, the only thing that I might say that changes from English 1 and English 2 would be that introduction and that ending. Body paragraphs are basically going to follow that same academic format.
You can just, yeah.
Okay, so as you all know, in the state of Texas, you're required to pass certain STAAR assessments, and one of them is the English 1 EOC. So this test is normally given during the spring, but those that do fail to pass it, they give you multiple opportunities to continue to take it, and until you reach a passing score. It's comprised of 3 sections, which are the reading, editing, and writing. And to pass, you need to achieve a score of 3775, okay? So it is important that you do well on your writing and write an essay and not leave it in blank, because that will definitely allow you to pass it. If you leave it in blank, it's very difficult to pass it, or you're not going to be able to. So it's important that you do put that emphasis on writing your essay.
Okay, so this is basically how your essay is graded. And so it is called a rubric, and you can score from 1, which is the lowest, to 4, which is the highest. Now, I have told my students before, there are 2 graders, and they add the score. So the highest you can achieve is an 8. Now, to get a 1, basically you just have to write. It doesn't have to make any sense. I've seen some crazy stuff on there before that has gotten a 1, but you cannot pass the STAAR if you get a 1 on your writing. It's very hard to pass the STAAR completely if you make a very low score on your writing, okay? Now, the only thing that separates a score from 1 to 2 is a thesis statement. So as long as you get a thesis statement, which we're going to show you an easy trick on how to create one, you automatically will start at a 2. And then if you add the academic paragraphs that we're talking about, that automatically moves you to a 3. And if you really hone those skills, then that's a 4. And if you get a high score in your writing, you are very likely to pass the STAAR and achieve at least the 3775. So it's very important. So everything that we're going to be teaching you today will at least put you here at a 3, if you just do the bare minimum of what we teach you. So writing in any format, we get that it's hard, especially for some of our students. We understand that. So what we've tried to do is really come up with a process that will help you pass the test and get through it. And if you follow that process, again, you're more than likely going to start at a 6, which is the 3 plus 3. And that will help you pass that portion. Okay.
Okay, so the STAAR expository essay, this is more or less the format that we're going to follow. It's composed of 4 paragraphs, and you have to write that essay within 26 line. You have that space, 26 lines. So it will be composed of the introduction, a global academic paragraph, the personal academic paragraph, and that conclusion to make a total of 4 paragraphs for that writing essay. Okay, so notice how the introduction is, as long as you have that thesis statement in there, you're good. As long as you write it as we are going to show you in this format that we have. So, and it's only 1 sentence, okay? So the global academic that Ms. Garcia is going to touch more on these later, need to have a total of these 6 sentences. So it needs to have a debatable topic sentence that's going to tell us, tell the reader not only what the paragraph is about, but it can be arguable. It's going to explain the topic sentence. Then you are going to make your case by adding that evidence. That would be 3 sentences. And at the end, to close it out, you're going to remind the reader of your topic sentence. Okay? And then the personal academic paragraph follows more or less the same format. It only changes in 1 section. So again, you're going to also have that debatable topic sentence, this time with a transition, because you want to tie in your both paragraphs, okay? Then you're going to explain your topic sentence, and in this case, you are going to make your case, but through a story that should have a beginning, middle, and end. So like I tell my students, the person who is reading does not necessarily know what happened. So you have to make it clear to the reader you have to make it clear to the reader your story, because they weren't there. They don't know what happened. And you have to do that in 3 sentences. And for the last sentence, as in the first body paragraph, you're going to remind your reader of your topic sentence. Now, when we go to the conclusion is comprised of 2 sentences. So it's a linking sentence that connects both examples to your thesis and a closing statement. So in total, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 sentences. So I think that's pretty doable, 15 sentences. And to follow the precise format that we are going to teach you today, and that'll get you the success that you need to pass that STAAR.
So we're probably going to skip through the pre-writing, but we probably will have a shorter video that we'll record later that kind of walks you through that. I think I did also attach a video that talks to you about how to get from the pre-writing to the thesis. The only thing that we really need to talk about is how to identify which is the prompt, because I have seen some of your writings from previous tests, and it looks like you guys were not quite sure what the prompt was. So just so that you know, never look at this. Cross this out. This is a trap. So always, always, I just want you to exit it out. I don't care what you do to it. Don't read it, okay? Where it says write, that is the prompt. So everything after explaining why activism is important for creating social change, this is what you're writing about. That is the actual prompt. Everything else is just extra stuff. Focus on this only. Okay, and again, it's just because it is a trap. Many times you guys end up writing to this one, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So, and again, and we are going to be sharing this with you so that you'll be able to see all the steps to go through the pre-writing. But do you want to talk to them how to change the thesis statement? So it's important for you to, in order to create your thesis statement, you have to change this, what it is asking you to write about, to a because statement, okay? So why activism is important for creating social change.
So how would we go about changing that into our because statement? We have to reorganize it. Activism is important for creating social change because. So notice that we use the exact same words that are here and just added that because. So activism is important for creating social change because. So now you're going to brainstorm why that is important, okay? So we suggest that you write down your because statement in a circle in the middle of a paper. And again, use that in the STAAR they give you this blank
sheet of paper
where you could jot down and make and do this brainstorming process. And I recommend you do this because this will help you a lot in writing. And remember, you have like a specific set of time to finish that STAAR. So this is very useful and helpful for that, okay? So you're going to write your because statement in the middle, and then you're going to write some reasons in smaller circles related to your because statement. So for example, this person's brainstorming process they wrote, it draws attention to the social issues. It slows down injustice. It shows people are not willing to accept injustice, and it helps fix the problems of society. So you're gonna try to come up with at least 3. If you come up with 4, great. So once you do that, you're gonna look into and choose the reason that you can talk about or support the most. So even if it's not your first choice, if it's something that you have examples and you say, oh, right off the bat, I can include this, this, and that, choose that one. Okay, so now, oh, can I go back to?
Oh, yeah. This one?
Yeah. So now your thesis statement.
Yeah.
Your thesis statement is going to be, you're going to add this plus your reason. So the thesis statement consists of your because statement plus your one reason. And it should look like this. But I think it's in another slide, right?
It is in another slide. But I do want you to remember that the formula is always your because statement plus one reason. That is the formula for your thesis. And remember, as long as you have a thesis, you've already moved yourself from a 1 to a 2.
Can I see the one that has a thesis?
Yeah, let me,
Okay, so this is how you are going to combine your because statement to your reason. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to write your because statement. Activism is important for creating social change because, and add your reason, because it helps fix the problems of society. And there you go. That's your thesis statement. You have to keep it simple. It's only one sentence. Remember that, because some people want to explain everything in the thesis, and it's not like that. That's what I've seen with some of my students. So that thesis statement, keep it simple. What do you believe and why?
it's nice and it's clear. So we know exactly that the paper is going to be talking about how activism helps fix problems in society. So once you get through that process, so you have your introduction, which is your first paragraph, and that's your because statement plus one reason. You're going to want to go ahead and, so there's your completed thesis. You're going to want to go ahead and move on to your academic paragraphs. Now, the way that you set up your academic paragraphs is you're going to find a global reason or example that supports your thesis. Now, global means outside of yourself. That means something in the real world. It can be movies, it can be books, it can be events that are going on. Now, this one we found was the protest in response to George Floyd's death, right? Because everybody knows about that. It was all over the news, even if you don't watch the news, it was all over social media. Use the information that you get from around you to help you build that. So for the global example we had about how it helps fix society was the protest of George Floyd's death, okay? So the way we're gonna set this up is we're gonna have a debatable topic sentence, an explanation of the topic sentence, and then you're gonna make your case through evidence. Evidence is facts, okay? So you're really gonna wanna do that. You're not trying to tell a story or anything, you're gonna present facts. And then you're gonna remind the reader of your topic sentence again. So the way this looks, here's a debatable topic sentence. The protests in response to the death of George Floyd are one example of how activism helps fix the problems in society. Notice that this is repeating what I said in my thesis statement, okay? I'm using my thesis statement to help me create those topic sentences so that we can make sure that they tie together. Now, is this debatable? Absolutely, right? People can argue against that. They can maybe prove me wrong. So I do need to support that. I do need to further explain it. Why do I think this? Because George Floyd was an African-American man who was killed on video due to the police using too much force. So that's obviously a problem within society. That is a good example. But now I need to state my case through 3 evidence sentences. When people saw the video of Floyd's death, people took to the streets to call for change in how the police operate. Seeing so many people protesting Floyd's death, some police departments have promised to make changes to their use of force. The activism of protesters even caught the attention of some politicians who have suggested defunding police and using the extra money to help to improve the relationship between the police and their community. These are all facts. Can these be proven? Yes. I can go to the news, I can go research it, and these are true. And they all support the fact that it's tied to activism and it's trying to fix society. You want to make sure to stay on topic. Does the evidence that I'm presenting support both my topic sentence and my thesis? If it does not connect, then you need to get rid of it and rewrite it. But again, it's only 3 sentences. I've explained it, and now I'm gonna wrap it up. The George Floyd protest drew attention to many of the problems that exist in society and show that activism is an important step in trying to create social change. Again, I'm reminding the reader of both my thesis and my topic statement and the example that we were talking about. So this is an outside one. This shows the people that are reading your essay that you really understand what you're talking about. You're showing outside evidence, right? So this one might probably be a little bit harder because you do have to think outside of yourself. Okay, and that's what it looks like all together. And now we both have our introduction and our global paragraph. Now, our personal academic paragraph is a little bit different. Personal means myself, right? So it's gonna be about something that I know, a story about my life that can support this. Again, it's the same format, but we're gonna include a transition because you don't wanna just jump from one paragraph to the next without connecting them. So you always wanna have a transition that links them together, okay? So it's almost like you have to have one and the other together. And then this time you're gonna use a story, but I'm not looking for the long epic saga of your life. I'm looking for short, concise, beginning, middle, and end. This happened, this is how it ended. That's it. Yeah, no more, okay? And then you're gonna remind your reader of the topic sentence. So for this example, here's my transition. While the George Floyd protest showed how social change can happen at a national level, so on a bigger level, now I'm gonna bring it in. Activism can also help fix smaller, more local social issues. Some problems only affect a small part of society, such as school programs, right? Because I'm in school, I can talk about this. This is gonna be personal to me, and I've connected it all together. Notice how both of these support the paragraph before and the thesis. So I'm making my writing stronger as I go. In high school, there are a lot of different sports teams, but they were all for the boys. The girls in my school felt that this was a problem, so they began to speak out and draw attention to the fact that girls were being left out of sports. Their activism led the school to add girls softball, soccer, and weightlifting sports teams to permit the girls to play, football. Is that a story? Yes. Beginning, middle, and end. This is how it started. This is what happened in the middle. This is how it ended. Now, as I tell most of my students, these readers don't know you. So they're not gonna be able to say, that didn't happen. They don't know it could have happened. So even if you don't have a real life example or story, make one up. Beginning, middle, and end, it supports it, right? Just make it convincing, right? Because I do need y'all to be convincing, because sometimes y'all stories are not convincing. So I do need it to be convincing. And then I'm just gonna wrap it up. Remember, I'm gonna remind the reader of my topic sentence. The addition of girls to my school's athletic program demonstrates how activism can help to start the process of changing society and fixing its problems. Okay, both of these paragraphs are examples, a big example and a small example, which shows that I understand the topic that I'm talking about and they support my thesis. Every time you're writing, you need to keep asking yourself, does this relate to my thesis? If it does not relate to your thesis, you need to get rid of it and start over, because then you're going to be off topic. You want to keep it all supporting that thesis. That's the most important thing. Okay, and with those examples, that definitely is going to get you to a 3, but you still have to have your conclusion.
Okay, so the conclusion is going to be your last paragraph in that essay, and it's going to consist of only 2 sentences, a linking sentence and a closing statement. So in order to do this, it's better to look at the parts of the essay as a whole, right? So let's recap on the thesis, the global and personal examples, in order to think more clearly about how are we going to conclude it, how are we going to end this essay. So the thesis again was activism is important for creating social change because it helps fix the problems of society. So these were the 2 examples, the global and the personal, that the writer used. For the global one, the protest in response to George Floyd's death. And in the second one, a personal example about adding more girls' teams to the high school athletics department or program. So the linking sentence, again, just as Ms. Garcia said, has to link both your global paragraphs and your thesis. So it'll look like this. So we have to acknowledge, it's important for you to acknowledge both examples that you used. So both the George Floyd protest and the addition of girls' teams to my high school's athletics program stand as proof, or their evidence, because that is the evidence you use, stand as proof that activism is important for creating social change. Okay, so it links, it links both your examples that you use, the evidence that you use, to that thesis statement.
Mm-hmm. And what you're going to do is this last part is basically the first part of your thesis. Work smarter, not harder. Now, it may sound repetitive, but it is proving your point, and it's making sure that you stay on track and on topic.
And then, so since the close statement is your final say on the topic, what you want your reader to know before the paper is done. So remember, your final say has to be about the topic. Everything has to follow that topic, okay? You can find the topic in the first part of your because statement. So the because statement, activism is important for creating social change, because that is your because statement. So the topic would be, the overall topic would be that activism is important for creating social change. So the closing sentence can look something like this. Society will always have problems. So you're thinking a little bit more in depth. We will always have problems. However, activism allows people to work towards fixing those problems and making society a better place. Okay, and that's what the completed conclusion looks like.
So now we've hit all the marks, all 4 paragraphs, and this is what it looks like at the end. And it's come together nicely. It's a nice, do I have my thesis? Absolutely. Do I have support? Yes. Is it on topic? Yes. Do I close it out? Absolutely. So I have a full essay that addresses the prompt, it gives examples, and it's in depth. Okay, and just by doing that, I automatically start to have a 3. Now, if you start using your word choice and your sentence structures, you start varying those, that will move you up to a 4. But as long as we can get you to a 3, that's going to make the rest of the STAAR so much easier. You're going to have the multiple choice part and you'll be able to get through that. But without writing, and I have to make this clear, if you do not write, it is very, very hard to pass the STAAR. You would have to almost get every single multiple choice question right for you to really pass. So you need to be working on those skills, try your best, and just follow that formula. Study those formulas and go through those processes and you will make a 3. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me or Ms. Vargas through our emails, or you can go through the Schoology page, which again, let me show you because I realize some of you may not know. Why is it stuck? It's stuck. Okay, but if you go to your courses, you're gonna see ESL Lab. And this is important because this ESL Lab is not just for STAAR. Students that are virtual, if you have questions, if you need to come to the ESL Lab, go through this and let us know. We will set up Zooms for you. We will help you. It's just like within in school. We also have tutorings through here. So let us know and we're gonna work with you, okay? So if you have any questions, again, just let us know. And I think that's about it. Good luck, guys.